Despite what you are about to see in this absolutely insane battle for World of Warships Legends, the legendary tier Japanese battleship Yamato is not in any way a brawling battleship. There are many reasons for this, and we're going to see those reasons demonstrated in stark relief during the course of this battle. But at the same time, the player who actually played this game, his name is Wits End, FL, although I'm not sure whether you're supposed to say the FL or not. He is a streamer for World of Warships Legends. He's got a YouTube channel of his own. He's just sort of starting out. I think he's around 370 subscribers, but his streams are indeed entertaining. I've watched a few of them, and if you want to check him out for yourself, I left a link to his channel in the description. But Wits End, as I see it, he's a little bit of an aggressive battleship player, a much more aggressive battleship player than I am, and evidently he is the kind of battleship player who will take a battleship like Yamato and essentially try to fit a square peg into a round hole. The Yamato is not a brawler, but Wits End is going to play it as a brawler in this game, and he's going to come out on top. But there's a lot to dig in here as to why, even though you're about to witness some smashing success with this sort of method of playing the Yamato, it's not an advisable one. And, well, we'll just see as time runs on. For now, Wits End is in the center of the map, which is a place that I regard as a good place to put your battleship, especially if the battleship is a Yamato, because being in the center of the map, depending on the map you're playing, usually gives you access to the broadsides of all the ships pushing the flank. And if you build the battleship for concealment, keep it at medium range, you can sort of choose which flank you want to engage based on whichever flank is the one giving you the most broadsides. But that doesn't always work. You do, in fact, have to move your battleship around the map in order to acquire broadsides. Broadsides are not things that just come to you. I mean, sometimes they do, but if they do, it's because a potato has given you a broadside. If you want to be a super Unicum battleship player, then you've got to put your battleship in the place to get the broadside. And I suppose you could say that's sort of what Wits End is doing here, as he pushes into the Bravo cap on this map, which, well, I forgot the name of the map, but let's just say I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like the layout versus the spawns. Oftentimes you see entire teams crashing the center of this map and evaporating within the first 5 minutes of a match. Thankfully, that does not happen here. Wits End is the only one entering this Bravo cap, and there's no spotting whatsoever of any of the ships anywhere. But we can see that 2 Yamatos were spotted directly in front of Wits End, and there's probably a Des Moines or 2. In fact, here's a Yamato right now who unluckily doesn't manage to hit Wits End's citadel, but Wits End fires back, and he does 44,000 damage right through the bow of the Yamato, because of course the Yamato can overmatch itself. And this leads me into the first reason why the Yamato is not a brawler, especially against other Yamatos. It's got an overmatchable bow by itself, and if you point your bow directly at another enemy Yamato, all that Yamato has to do is aim directly at your bow, and there you go, another 20,000 damage done. But more so than that, the Yamato could be brawling against battleships that can't overmatch its bow, and that is literally every other battleship in this game, aside from the Musashi, which has the same size guns, so can do the same thing as Yamato. But if something's got smaller guns, and you're slightly angled, all they need to do is aim right underneath the turret, and boom, there's another citadel. So if you're going to be brawling in the Yamato versus battleships that aren't Yamato, and you angle your nose ever so slightly, pretty much any battleship can do that same shot. And of course, if you're in a brawling situation and you can't really maneuver very well and you give broadside, well, you definitely don't want to do that because, well, yeah, the The citadel of the Yamato is very punishable. There's 5 citadels right there, totaling 7 citadels done thus far in the battle, and the rear turret of justice comes in for the 8th citadel, sinking the 2nd enemy Yamato. And while Wit's End is still alive, after conducting that close quarters duel with the 2 enemy Yamatos, the only reason he's still alive is down to either luck, poor RNG, or poor aim on the part of the enemy Yamatos. Everything he did to those 2 Yamatos could have been done back to him in return the exact same way. And frankly, it is just a matter of luck that he managed to survive, which is why you shouldn't take the Yamato into brawling situations. But if you're going to do it, well, you couldn't ask for a better setup than this. Now that the 2 enemy Yamatos have been dispatched, we've still got Arun, who is well on his way back to port after that shot, and I think a Khabarovsk out there. Looks like maybe a Des Moines as well, but I think that Des Moines is already dead. He just doesn't know it yet. I think, actually, the Des Moines manages to take out another enemy ship as his final salvo before he does end up going down. See, I told you he was dead. It's almost like I can predict the future. Meanwhile, Rune is going behind the island to protect himself from these 18.1-inch shells from the Yamato. Bizarrely, he shoots AP at the bow-tanking Yamato, which makes no sense. He's got great HE, and it could have easily penetrated the Yamato's armor. And it's not like Wit's End here has 15,000 hit points or anything that could be easily evaporated by a German cruiser with good HE pen, but I digress. At this point, the enemy team is closing in on the Bravo cap, which, if I'm actually Wit's End, did he manage to flip that cap while he was inside it? Never mind, I thought he did, but apparently he did not. There is no capture ribbon. In any case, the enemy Republique may very well flip that cap, and that could end up being a problem. There are still 7 minutes left to go in this game. The enemy team has captured the Charlie cap. They've now secured Bravo. The blue team has absolutely no source of points income aside from sinking ships, because they hold none of the caps. Hopefully, Wit's End is going to change that by flipping this cap, but anytime he gets spotted, he can just be reset by one of the 2 enemy Khabarovsks, or hopefully not the Republique, who, as far as we know, is probably still pushing into that Bravo cap. I think Wit's End also thinks the Republique is pushing in, so he's got his guns aimed directly back that way. But there is the Khabarovsk and the Rune to deal with on the other side of the map here, and it looks like Kaba is about to come out from behind that island, which isn't necessarily a great thing for Wit's End, because the Kaba is exceptionally good at farming battleships, but hey, this Khabarovsk is not the kind of Khabarovsk who wants to be a crazy open water gunboater. He is reversing behind the island, taking himself away from the fight. I suppose he's got whatever that is, a Worcester shooting at him, so you can't really blame him for not wanting to come out. But the Rune is behind this island. He's got the sonar going. He can see Wit's End coming for him, and since the Rune is German, he's got torpedoes. And as we all know, German cruisers are very good at claiming islands for Kriegsmarine and stopping ships from pushing around them. But the Rune is retreating. He still knows Wit's End is coming, thanks to the sonar. But, well, this requires a careful approach. Certainly, you don't want to come around this corner at full speed, otherwise you're liable to eat a bunch of Rune torpedoes. And hey, look, the Khabarovsk is now within 6 kilometers. And the Khabarovsk has a 6-kilometer range on his torpedoes. So potentially, if we go around this island, we're looking at Kaba torpedoes and Rune torpedoes. Very scary prospects indeed, but you saw one of those shells come from the other direction and bounce off the armor of this Yamato. That probably came from the Republique, and there's absolutely no way that Wit's End here can afford to take too much more damage from that guy. There's another 4K salvo courtesy of the Republique, so yeah. Best choice is probably to push out here and try your luck. We saw some torpedoes sail by, whether they were Kabas or Runes, I don't know. But there's some more torpedoes sailing by, and somehow they all managed to launch them at the exact right time to make sure that Wit's End would not eat them when he came around the corner. The rune has been dispatched, Kaba is still around, and with any luck, Kaba is going to make himself available for destruction. Oh, what do you know? He's reversing out from behind the island. I guess it was probably the rune's torpedoes that we saw Wit's End avoid there, because I don't know why else the Khabarovsk would do this aside from launching the torpedoes. It does, of course, spell his demise, because how hard is it to hit a broadside Khabarovsk at 4 kilometers with Yamato guns? Not very hard indeed. Wit's End is turning in toward where he suspects torpedoes may be incoming, and what do you know? They are incoming. He was able to dodge them just barely, which is great because it means he's still alive, and there is only one enemy Republic left. Now, that you've seen this battle, courtesy of Wit's End, which by all accounts is an impressive battle in terms of damage done, I don't recommend going out there and trying to repeat the same thing in your Yamato, because you're probably going to end up dying. However, I think this was still entertaining to watch, if it is not necessarily the way I would recommend you play this ship. If you want to know how I'd recommend to play this ship, I'd say play it at more medium to long ranges. Don't point your bow at the enemy and try to bow tank them. Instead, point your bow away from the enemy. Be available to disengage at all times, and utilize all 9 of these wonderful 18.1-inch guns. That's how I play the Yamato. You can absolutely play it other ways. You can even have some success if you play it as a brawler like this, but I don't think you're going to be having consistent success if you do choose to play it this way. That's not to say Wit's End is a bad player or anything. Obviously, this was a lot of damage that he did. I think it was a pretty entertaining game to watch, and I think his streams are pretty entertaining to watch if you want to go check him out. This is just to say that don't try this at home, kids, because the results are probably not going to be great for you. Meanwhile, Republic, last ship left alive, well, he's given flat broadside to the Yamato, so he gets 23,000 of his hit points removed. Wit's End gets the high caliber, or rather the Confederate medal to go with his high caliber, and he's at 271,000 damage done. Looks like Republic is going to once again charge right into the center of the map. I don't think he is slowing down, trying to put himself behind the island. I think he's just going to come barreling out of there at full speed, and once again present his broadside to Wit's End, which, if you notice, Wit's End does have 4 kills to his name, and this Republic could potentially be the 5th. Is that going to be the case? Well, Wit's End does have some competition from a friendly battleship and a friendly cruiser there, and the Republic, well, he's decided to shoot at one of the 2 of them instead of the very low health Yamato. I don't think you can blame him if he's got a cruiser on his broadside that he might potentially be able to blap, but, well, he's pointing his 32mm bow right at the Yamato, 9 kilometers away, and, well, you can't bow tank the Yamato, not in a Republic. So there's the Kraken Unleashed. 5 kills. How much damage was that done in the end? Let's see here when we get to the results screen. See, Wit's End is grinding the campaign there, but 290,000 damage done. Kraken, Confederate, high caliber Dreadnought as well. An impressive result by anybody's standards, even if a little bit unorthodox. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and if you did enjoy the video, drop by Wit's End's channel. I'm sure he would appreciate your eyes. But until next time, well, rather, I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.